Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking, just coming out of the All-Star game here. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show, and today we're just going to jump right into the action. I'm going to talk about the All-Star game. Caps hates the All-Star game. We will never know whether or not he actually watched it because he refuses to acknowledge the existence of the All-Star game. Yes. Um, so Austin Matthews' team won the actual All-Star game. He won MVP of the All-Star game. I don't know why, because Forsberg scored a lot more goals than he did. So that is what that is. The skills
Well,
competition.
it was in Toronto, and
Yeah, so
they
we're
gotta
just the guy who
acknowledge.
did nothing is gonna win MVP. But yeah, so that is what that is. Um, the skills
How was it?
competition was the All-Star game was mid.
Mid?
Like some of the goals were nice, but like the actual game was just a lot of back and forth nothing.
How did you like the skills competition?
I thought the skills competition was good for the most part. I would say for like 80% of it. It always is. It's like basketball, you watch the skills competition, baseball, you watch the home run derby. That's what you're really there for.
What was it, a back to basics type thing? Because I know
No,
last year in Vegas they did like something
it
completely
was
out of left
so
field.
the way it worked is for each event, whoever wins the event, obviously, but you got points based on what place you come in. And if you got enough points, you made it to like a final round and McDavid ended up winning, which I believe this was his idea, and it was to incentivize the players to try. There was $1 million prize, which he won. Um,
Which now
and
makes him the highest contract in this
yeah,
year.
yeah, that $1 million is more than some people make all season. So it's to me, I mean, I like that. I think they should incentivize the actual game too and go back to a divisional style where if your team from your division makes it to the finals, you get home advantage. Like how baseball is or something like that, right? So there's a people want to win the game.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was entertaining. There is a lot of baloney. Kucherov did not try. Draisaitl did not try.
I
Not
heard
both
Kachuk got a lot of slack, or like
people
not
were
slack.
booing him.
He got a lot of heck.
He was just skating out there, just not trying. He wasn't even looking at the targets. He's just passing to nothing. And
Wow.
then Draisaitl did the speed skating thing in 47 seconds. He just like lightly skated around the rink and then got off.
I've never known Drysdale to be a very fast skater.
But I mean, like you could see like none of them put any effort. Like there was a group of people trying for the and it's for the fans. Like, are you not here to have fun and entertain the fans? Like Kucherov, I wasn't expecting that out of him, to be honest with you. Um, it started off seeming like it was a joke, but it kind of went more into like he just didn't want to be there and got forced to come to the All-Star game. Okay, so
Preserving his rest and all that
yeah,
stuff.
reserving it. Anyway, shout out to the Maple Leafs won basically because they were all on that team. Um, Morgan Riley wasn't even in the All-Star game, but somehow he was the co-captain of the team along with Justin Bieber.
Hmm.
I'm surprised you Samsonov didn't make the All-Star game.
I
Uh
heard Michael Bublé was like high or something.
yeah, Michael Bublé's always high.
Uh, there was like a report that came out saying that Sidney Crosby was acting like a prima donna or something like that. I don't know if it was like fake news or just.
I saw actually two different things. There was one saying that he was walking around acting like a diva, and there was another report saying that he's just like he's been in the NHL so long that to him this is nothing and he just to him it was like a regular day and he was like just like casually just strolling around like not caring if there was fans and like walking through the corridors like just like a regular day for him. I don't know. What did that who I'm not here to speculate. I could care less.
Hmm.
One of the greatest players of all time. I think like he could do
Yeah.
whatever he wants at this point.
Well,
Um
everything.
so let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. I want to open it up by saying let's start this off by talking about the worst organization in hockey history. Um, there was a trade
Why is that?
recently. There was a trade recently. Sean Monahan. who,
Yeah.
mind you, I'm not pretending like he's some great player, but the Leafs don't need great players. The Leafs need people to fill in the spots of the positioning that they need. He's a center. He's a defensive center. He wins faceoffs, and he can get in there and score in certain situations.
Now I
When
remember this triggered you a little bit,
Oh, it
man.
triggered me big time. He went to Winnipeg Jets for a first rounder and a conditional third round pick.
Yeah.
Huh? You're telling me the Leafs couldn't pull that off? The Leafs could have offered an non like multiple, like a second and like a third. They retain like half the salary, and then you trade them, give them Max Domi in the trade too, and let them take Max Domi's salary because they're both expiring contracts. Montreal it'll come off the books next year for them. Give them some draft pick compensation. Give them Nick Robertson. I don't care. Bring in a guy we need and a position that we need. You have look who's playing center.
Hmm.
Is Max Domi like a real center?
I
I'm not
I
saying
can I can
they
sit here and speculate. I don't know if an offer was made. I don't
they
know if
wasn't. I
I don't
don't
know.
think
Maybe it wasn't. You could be 100% correct. I just think that based on where the Leafs are right now and how they're playing, they don't want to. They don't want to do anything. They don't. I honestly think that they're kind of throwing the season away, and and they're looking towards the future. And you can hear me out. You could disagree because I'm just speculating because I really don't know. The fact is, or I shouldn't say the fact is, but they're looking towards the future. They're looking towards next year. Those new contracts kick in. They are going to be cap strapped, and the only way that they can fill out the rest of those roster spots are those prospects, like Nicholas, Robertson and Nyes. These cheap entry level contracts are the only way that they can fill out these roster spots because the fact is they will not be able to sign really good free agents next year. That's just me. I don't know. I'm just speculating. That's my thought process. Feel free to tell me your argument because it's just I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I just don't know what it is. Like you said, I don't know what they're doing right now, and I
well,
just think that they are not going for it this year. I honestly think they're going to be sellers this year. I really don't think they're going to be buyers. I really don't think
I
they're
wouldn't
going
mind
to.
that. Sell off your salary.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just
so
don't know.
this as far as that trade goes, I don't know if the Leafs were ever in talk, so I'm never gonna speculate that part. I just see the deal that happened on paper and say, how come you weren't looking for deals like that? Do you know what I mean? GMs
Yeah,
know who's
yeah,
available. You know what the market value is, and you're gonna let Winnipeg, a team that's like already good, and I know they're not in the same conference or the same division, same conference, anything, but you're letting another team get a better shot at winning the cup while you're sitting here doing nothing, and that was in the exact kind of guy you needed. And like he's not a game-changing player, but he's the
he's
kind
a
of
good piece.
piece that you do need.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what they're thinking right now. That these teams are getting better, and we just can't compete.
And like I said to you, if you found a way to make this trade work in a way that, let's say, you take back Monahan, right? His contract's 2 million, I believe. They retain 1 million of it. So you're taking 1 million. You get them to take Domi's 3 million through, what is it, 3.5?
I think it's just three right on.
Okay,
No,
3 million off the books. Now you're under cap by $2 million. You
I'm
have
gonna be
$2
honest
million
with you.
to play with.
I'd be more grateful if they took Bertuzzi right now because I would take Domi over Bertuzzi
Okay,
right
that's
now.
fair.
Because,
Break, and I
you know what
think
I
they're
mean?
about, Bertuzzi's what, 4 million?
Five.
Okay, imagine that. Is Bertuzzi
Yeah,
expiring though?
yeah, they're both on 1 year contracts.
Yeah, so there you that would be excellent, right? And I don't think Montreal would have a problem. They're not going to go anywhere. They're looking to free up cap space,
Yeah,
and you'll lose that contract at the end of the year, and then the Leafs will free up $4 million if you got rid of Bertuzzi, which means you have room to make a trade now. You can actually bring somebody in. That's the problem with what the Leafs have now. You have to trade one of your big names because you need to free up cap space.
yeah.
And it's that puts you in an awkward position, in my opinion, and it's a little bit bothersome. And I can't sit here and speculate because I don't know. But there's a big rumor that I'm hearing and I was going to say this, when you said that they're willing to throw away this season, I don't necessarily believe that, but I did hear a rumor floating around that they're thinking about not re-signing Marner when the contract expires. And that's
I've heard
why they
that too.
put so much effort into making sure they got to keep Matthews and Marner. I mean, Matthews
Yeah.
and Nylander, because they're gonna throw a low ball contract at Tavares to keep him, and then let Marner walk and free up a lot of cap. I don't know if that's true. That's just
I've heard that too.
the hearsays.
Uh, and we shall see. I've heard that same rumor. I've heard that same rumor. Um, man, like they next year's gonna be a struggle for them. Next year's gonna be a struggle. Those new contracts kick in. The cap only goes up $4 million.
Well, the $4 million will cover the excess of what they're paying extra for Matthews and Nylander.
Oh, absolutely. It's just, but it puts them in the same position as they are this
Yeah,
year,
they have
where they're
somebody
going to be
has to
struggling
go.
to get key pieces. I mean,
Somebody's got to
I would
go.
imagine next year that Easton Cowan and Fraser Minton are probably going to make the team
Yeah,
if they develop and become better players,
and
and that's a good thing.
that frees you up $8 million with Bertuzzi and Max Domi, because I
Yeah.
don't think either one of them is coming back unless Max Domi takes like $1 million contract.
Man, has Bertuzzi been such a disappointment? So
It's
I
so
like,
weird because have you not noticed the way that they flip flopped? It started off Bertuzzi was good, Domi sucked, and then Domi got good and Bertuzzi sucked, and then Bertuzzi got good again and Domi sucked. They've never been good together.
I remember in the beginning of the season where I said that Bertuzzi, Matthews, and Marner has the potential of being one of the best lines they'll ever have. Oh my God, was I wrong? Like, it just hasn't been able to mesh. There was
Nyes has
no,
been good in his moments that he's been on the first line.
like, but think about that. Bertuzzi is a veteran. And, Nyes is in his first full year, and he won out Bertuzzi on that line. That is just crazy.
And I think you got to add the fact that um sorry, I lost my train of thought there. You got to add the fact in that Bertuzzi came into this year, this team, this situation as like a strong piece that a lot of teams wanted. Max Domi came in as someone that was already had been written off now. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely a piece that the Leafs needed
Was
because it
Bertuzzi.
was missing. Yeah, the grit, yeah, I agree 100%. It's crazy how that turned out. If the Leafs make the playoffs, there's a possibility that Bertuzzi makes a 180. Who knows? But I never thought that we'd come to a point, um, during Matthews, Nylander's, Marner's, and Tavares' tenure, like maybe what are we 5 years in, that these guys might actually not even make the playoffs this year, and that's just absolutely crazy. Like a year wasted if that actually happens, and I don't want
I
that
do
happening.
think they'll make the playoffs, and I'll tell you why. Because them falling out of the playoffs doesn't help them. They don't have a first round draft pick, I'm pretty sure, this year.
I think they do. I
Do
think
they?
they do. I think they do. I could be wrong, but I
Okay,
think they do.
I'll fact check that right now. But
Sure.
I mean, I do think that it doesn't help them. Like, who are you drafting this year? The other outside of the top five, it's not like a crazy deep draft.
Yeah. But their problem is that they're not going to have any first round draft picks going forward the year after, I think for 2 or 3 years, um, which is going to be difficult for them to rid themselves of some of these younger players. Um,
They
you
do
know,
have a first. They have no second. They have a third from the Islanders, a fourth, a fifth from Vancouver, fifth from Chicago, fifth of their own, six,
yeah,
seven, seven.
yeah,
Then there's no first for the next year after, and then they have a first again in 2026.
there you go. Okay, all
But I'm saying, look, you see all those picks. Like, I know it's just me being a dick at this point, but you could have gave your first.
right.
You could have gave both the Vancouver and Chicago fifths and your fourth, let's say, or the New York Islanders third, and brought in Monahan and got them to retain all that salary for you. I guarantee you,
Yeah.
you could have pulled that off. I'm
So
sorry.
the man,
I'm so
I,
upset
I
because they're
totally
gonna,
understand. I
if they
hear
do make
you.
a trade, I promise you it's gonna be for a stupid big name player and it's gonna fail.
Yeah, I still think that they're trying to go after a defenseman.
But bring a
And I am,
defenseman in that you need. You remember all the hate we got for talking about getting Zadorov? Okay, sure, maybe my argument was overpaying, but I'm just being exaggerating like I always am. But you need those pieces. You
yep,
don't need to bring in freaking John Klingberg. That's not what you needed. You didn't need a big name offensive defenseman. You needed a real defenseman.
yeah. I they're linked to Tanev. They're linked to some
Tanev
other
would be
pieces.
great.
Um, you know, uh, I know that the trade deadline is a little later this year in comparison to previous years. I believe it's like what first week of March. I would have to
You want me
look
to
that
check?
up.
I'll check.
Sure, check it out. But there's still some time. I mean, there's like a few weeks left. I hope they do
March
something.
8th, Friday, March 8th.
Um,
That's late. Isn't it
that's
usually February?
it's usually February. But for some reason this year they've done it later. Um, there's still some time, dude. I'm baffled. I'm sort of at a loss of words because I have no idea what they're trying to do. I really don't. I don't know what it is they're trying to do. And you know, I'm looking at these other teams like Vancouver, and um, it's going to be tough. Like it's going to be tough. I really don't see it happening for the Leafs this year. I really don't. And this is probably the first time I've ever said that. I've usually kept my mouth shut, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's baffling.
I agree with that, and I think there has to be some kind of attempt to get a goalie. Like I know, and people just don't want to hear me talk about this, but like John Gibson from Anaheim, I know they're trying to pull in like an arm and a leg to get it, but like suppose you package Samsonov just to get rid of him and the salary, right? You put your first, maybe you give them Nick Robertson, maybe you throw in like someone on the AHL team. Like I don't know, but you need a real goalie. And I feel so bad for him because he's not even playing that bad in Anaheim, but they suck. And they should be good. Like seeing San Jose suck is not that bothersome because they should have sucked. Anaheim should be
That's the
better than they are.
expectation. Yeah.
Anaheim has all those young players. Last year, they all proved that, oh, we're about to like really come out this season. And then they came out and they suck. And Arizona looks really good too. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but like they look really nice. And Edmonton is killing it right now. I absolutely do not believe that they will keep it up throughout the playoffs, but I'd love to see McDavid win a championship as much as I don't want to see Edmonton win a cup.
I'm indifferent about that. I don't
I
mind.
mean, it would be nice to see a place like Winnipeg win too, right? Or Vancouver, who's never won a cup, and I hate Vancouver. We all know that by now. But it's because the Leafs are not going to win.
That's not with the way they're playing. I see a coaching change happening before they make a big trade.
Oh, you know how much I would love that. We all know that.
No.
That's like my dream is to just get rid of Sheldon Keefe. I listen. I know I'm like once again going back to this, but I know I'm always a jerk. Okay. But like I genuinely don't think Keefe is a good coach, like in any sort of way. Like not even there's no remote chance that you're even gonna give me a fraction of a doubt in my head that he's a good coach.
Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Fire him.
I don't have the power to do that.
Get rid of him.
Well,
Okay,
anyway,
I'm done being an idiot. But is there anything else Leafs that you think? Sorry, Leafs. That makes no sense. Well, that's a good question. Do you have anything else Leafs? Plus, also, I'm going to ask you: do you think the Leafs have anything else that they can do?
uh, I they need a defenseman. That's their primary. That should be their primary goal. They need a stay-at-home defenseman. As much as Simon Benoit has been a surprising figure in this lineup, um, they still need someone to take over that top second spot. And I particularly, specifically, am naming Brody's spot because I do not see this team going anywhere with Brody as their top pairing.
Isn't it crazy how everyone's feelings changed after the first season when we were all like, "Wow, this guy is pretty good," to like where we are now?
It's 4 years. No, this is like about 4 years now.
3 or 4, yeah.
um, love the pickup when he came and all that stuff, but it's become abundantly clear that his game has really regressed, and I don't know if there's something in particular going on with him. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but I don't see any sort of fight or anything like that in him to be that guy. You know, they need that spot filled by a big bruising defenseman. And
I see that issue in a lot of them.
yeah,
A lot of them.
and
Matthews,
Giordano, man, he's big difference from last year, man.
he's
He
old.
had he had some good moments last year, and this year, coming back from that injury, he hasn't been that great. You know, everybody's talking about putting Liljegren on that first pairing. Once again, he as somewhat good as he's been playing, that's not the person that you want to have on that top pairing. I'm sorry if you're
Fair
trying to
enough.
make a run for the playoffs. You know, I don't know who it is, whether it's Tanev or that dude from Montreal. I can't remember his name because I heard
Petrie?
that
Is
rumor
Petrie
as
in
well.
Montreal?
Hmm?
Is it Petrie that's in Montreal?
No, I heard another name. It escapes my mind right now. But they got to try something, and if they have the room, um, if they have some cap space, then try getting a really good goalie. But obviously, the first thing that should be on their minds is getting that key defenseman, that stay-at-home
Is it
defenseman that
Matheson?
supports Morgan Riley. No, I got to look it up.
I'd like to get Matheson. Anyways, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think you said nothing incorrect there. Everyone should tell you that you're smart because you are. And
It's
I don't have
it's open to discussion.
no, it is.
Comment.
Yeah,
We
leave a
want to hear
comment, tell
what you
us.
guys got to say, man. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. I don't care. But we want to hear what you want. We want to
Not
hear.
wrong. He's never
Thank you.
wrong. Anyways, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else? Or are you checking the name?
I heard Dennis Savard.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
Okay.
33 years old, but
Whatever. We have
whatever.
like a 43-year-old on our team right now. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyways, thank you
like
for
that.
watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back once in a while.